What's up, brothers? Hope everybody's doing well out there. I think there's a reason why these videos get so popular. And that's because we don't talk about things in the way we wish they were. And we don't talk about things the way we think they ought to be. We just make observations, and we come together and we discuss these observations. It's not our ideologies that we're talking about here. We're not trying to push things on to other people. We're just observing the world, and we're talking about it in an honest way. And I think that's necessary. So I think sometimes these videos, for some of you guys, serve as a reminder. And we all need a reminder every now and then. We all need somebody to refresh our memory, because it's easy to forget these things. And for some of you younger guys out there, these videos are informative and you're learning something. Listening to guys with some experience come in and have conversations. But there's people of all different ages, all different walks of life, all different types of people that like to come here and listen to this type of content. I think that's great, and I think you should watch other content creators as well. As long as they're giving you real, true observations, and they're not just pushing, bullshit ideologies, talking about the way they think things should be, because that's useless to all of us. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about in today's video is, once you get burned enough times, eventually you'll get it. And what do I mean by this? I should say, what sparked this video? What sparked this idea to come to my head? Well, I was at the store. A lot of you guys know I'm into weightlifting. I'm into gym stuff. I like to do a little bit of sporting stuff on the side. So I go to the store a lot, and I have to buy new shoes and new workout gear and things like that. There's a guy that works at the store that I go to. I've known him for several years. I'll walk in there and we'll bullshit about sports, about life, about all sorts of different shit. And, this is a guy that you would look at and you would say, well, this guy's an alpha male. He's big, he's strong, he's a manly man, outdoorsy type. He looks like an alpha male. And by all means, for the most part, I would put him in that category. He seems like an alpha male. But anyways, there's a girl working in the store. Real cute. Beautiful face, stacked up from head to toe. New girl, and she walks up to him while he and I are having a conversation. And she asks him for $20. She walks up. Cute, innocent smile on her face. Beautiful looking girl. For the majority of men out there, it's hard to say no to a woman like that. She asks him for $20. And he looks at me like he's ashamed of himself. And then he looks at her and he says, "We just got paid today. I know you have money." And she looks back at him and she says she has bills to pay and she doesn't have money for lunch. And she smiles and says, "Pretty please," and gives him this real cute and innocent look. And he looks at me again like he's ashamed of himself, and he reaches in his wallet and he pulls out $20 and he hands it to her, and she walks away. And I didn't say anything. I just thought to myself, that's exactly what happens when a man hasn't had that reminder of, what the blue pill is. When a woman approaches you, a beautiful woman, a cute girl, and, you get hit with those pheromones, the endorphins run through your head, she's totally in your head. You can be the biggest alpha male in the world, but if you don't have control of yourself, she can work you over. She can whip you into shape real quick. And for guys out there that don't fully understand this and they're not aware of this sort of thing happening, they just don't pay it any attention. they'll behave in ways they otherwise wouldn't behave. And, women will just whip them right into shape and get what they want out of them, take advantage of them and use them. And in their minds, they think maybe the girl likes them. They're just not seeing things clearly. So that's the direction that I want to go in this video, and that's kind of what sparked this thought. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are in that guy's position, or you've been in my position and you see one of your friends in this sort of a position. And if you're not aware of these things, you can get yourself into some trouble. Which, reminds me, since we're on this subject, there's a reason why, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was about pickup artists that I just didn't quite vibe with. Like, I didn't quite agree with the ideology of a pickup artist. I never have, and I've always been an advocate to stay away from that sort of a lifestyle. And this isn't a shot at any pickup artists. I have a lot of friends that are pickup artists. But it's hopefully a wake-up call to some guys that are going down that path. This is what it is about a pickup artist that rubs me the wrong way. Now, this is what a pickup artist does. A pickup artist will see a woman that is irresistible. She's stacked from head to toe, cute face, cute body, got it going on, beautiful woman. And just like in the cartoons, in the cartoons, when they see a beautiful woman, their eyes pop out of their head, their jaw hits the floor, ooga, make some weird noises, and they just can't resist themselves. They go Johnny Bravo mode, and they have to run over and talk to her. So the pickup artist approaches the woman, and it's almost the same thing every single time. He approaches her, he starts talking to her, and what's she do? She starts shit testing him. Okay? Now, what's a shit test? A shit test is when a woman disrespects you in some way, shape, or form. Maybe to see how you'll react, or maybe to push you away. But she's disrespecting you in some way, for whatever reason. Maybe to get a reaction out of you, but, what's the pickup artist do when he's getting shit tested and he's getting disrespected? Well, he conforms. He tries to be a more charismatic beta. He tries to come up with the right things to say. And you'll see these guys, sometimes they'll get disrespected, but they'll continue talking to that woman for the next 15 minutes, trying to get her phone number or trying to set up a date, trying to make something happen. Now, here's the thing. I understand for a lot of guys out there, you think, well, maybe that's a good idea, because if you can learn to overcome objections and pass these shit tests, you can get her number and you can make something happen. But the second a woman disrespects you or starts shit testing you, and you continue to entertain her, that's the moment. Sorry, the wind's coming pretty bad. I think we're good. The second that a woman starts disrespecting you and shit testing you, and you continue talking to her, that's the second she knows she's got you whipped into shape. She's put you through the horseshoe and the spin cycle in the dryer. You're a conformed, better beta. Because you're bending over backwards. You're doing whatever you have to do to try to win this woman over, when in reality, she's already disrespected you, and you should realize there's another woman right around the corner. I'm not tolerating disrespect. I'm just going to leave. But, again, when guys get hit by that blue pill, they get high on that blue pill, the pheromones, the endorphins, they get excited, especially young guys with raging hormones. And even though she's disrespecting them, they sit there and they tolerate it and they keep moving. And the woman's in charge at that point. He's trying to set up a date. She can say, nope, I'm busy that day. I'm busy every day. And he'll continue trying to set up a date for the next 2 weeks. And she just keeps saying she's busy. Or, maybe eventually she says, well, I'm going out on Thursday if you want to come along. And he drops what he's doing to go see her. That's the sort of behavior that we see out of most of these guys, and they really think they're winning. They really think, they're alpha males just because maybe they look like alpha males and maybe they're getting laid a lot. But in reality, they're getting laid because they're conformed betas. And that's just a small scale. Think about this. That's a pickup artist. That's a cool approach. That's a date. That's maybe a one-night stand. That's a very small scale of, just an example. That's just a small example. But think about this on a larger perspective, a bigger example. Think of all the married men out there that were alpha as hell. They made their own decisions. They had their own masculine identity. They had their own program that they lived by, and if anybody wanted to be a part of their life, they'd have to abide by that program. But, a woman can wear on a man. She can soften him up. It's the hormones, it's the endorphins, it's the pheromones, it's the oxytocin. And he softens up over time. And, before you know it, he's basically taking orders from her. And, I'm not one of these guys that thinks it's a really big deal if a guy's like nice to his wife. Like, I think you should treat your woman very well. But when it gets to a point where she's turned a bona fide alpha male, a masculine, manly, strong, rough and tough, badass man that she finds extremely attractive, and she softens him up, which she thinks she wants to do. Women think they want to soften a man up, but what happens after they soften that man up is they start to lose respect for that man. They become less attracted to that man. And we see this happen all the time. Out of nowhere, out of left field, he never expected it to happen. She's fucking another man. And why is she doing it? Well, because the other man is that rough and tough alpha that her husband once was. And the only reason he's not anymore is because he let her whip him into shape. And turned him into this subservient, charismatic beta. He's no longer that rough and tough, rugged, does what he wants alpha male. Now, I'm not the kind of guy that tells you what you should or should not do. I just like to discuss these situations and these observations that we see take place in society and let you figure out things on your own. You can do the math on your own. But, I've seen so many guys out there, either on a small scale or on a large scale, completely change their behavior. I've seen guys turn into obsessive stalkers. I've seen guys go into financial debt. I've seen guys go through the divorce machine and lose everything. I've seen guys get their hearts broken and resort to, alcohol and drug addictions. Seen it all. And it's amazing how it happens. How you can take the strongest man and the strongest alpha male and just watch him convert and turn. Now, if there was a lesson to be learned from this video, which I don't really intend it to be that, but if there was one, I would start by saying, there is another way to look at it, because there are other observations we can make as well. And you see that there are a small select group of men who are able to maintain themselves throughout a marriage, throughout a relationship. They're able to be the captain of the ship. They're able to, as they say, maintain masculine frame. And, keep that dominant rule in the household, and they're able to have a healthy marriage. And there's other men out there that don't want a marriage to begin with, They just want to smash and dash, fuck and chuck, pump and dump, friends with benefits. You know, and these two groups of men tend to do just fine. You know, one may be a little bit degenerate, the other may be good for society, but really risky. But these two types of men tend to have a healthy mindset. You know, they do things on their own terms, and they live a life that they enjoy. Then you also have the men that go their own way. You know, they tend to have a life that they can enjoy, you know, a life of freedom. But, you know, calculating those three groups together still only equates to a pretty small percentage of men. The overwhelming majority are still in that other side. You know, they're the guys that can't quite identify that moment, you know, when they're intoxicated by a woman. You know, the oxytocin kicks in, the endorphins, the hormones, the pheromones, and they lose control. You know, they can't quite figure it out. You know, these are the guys that meet a woman. You know, they do their best. They follow their favorite dating coach, and they do their cold approaches. They finally meet a woman. They get one-itis, and she's putting them through the ringer. You know, she's busy all the time, probably because she's hanging out with other men. And these are the type of guys that are willing to pay $1,000 for a pickup artist boot camp, or, you know, $2,000 for a phone call for a dating coach to try to resolve this problem, because they're so obsessed. And, you know, that's the overwhelming majority of men out there. I suppose if you are one of those guys, before you start looking for the solution externally, or learning how to be more charismatic, or make the right moves, say the right things, maybe you should identify exactly what it is that causes you to go into that irrational mind state. Because when you hear the term blue-pilled, that's what it means. It doesn't mean real is red pill and fake is blue pill. It means the blue-pilled guys are literally, they're intoxicated by that mindset. And they're trapped. And they don't quite understand what causes them to go into that sedated mindset. You know, but when you're able to identify that moment when it's about to happen, you can kind of pull yourself back and become immune to it. You know, just understand what's going on there. Because whether you're fully invested and 100% in love with a woman and you want to pursue a long-term relationship with her, get married and start a family and buy a house together and all that, or if you just want to live a life where you pump and dump and whatnot, you know, or if you're just trying to figure things out, you got to understand when you go into that mindset and a woman softens you up to a point where you're no longer making decisions for yourself, you're making decisions to better suit her, you've lost it. You've lost the plot. And you're going to lose the woman. And you're going to lose yourself. And depending on where you're at in your life, you may lose your kids and your house and whatever. You know, we've seen it all happen many times before. So, you know, I suppose that's why these videos are so popular. People need to chime in, or they need to tune in and learn these lessons. And they also need to chime in and spread the message. But hey guys, I won't hold you much longer. I hope this video was somewhat informative, but that's about it for today, guys. Until next time, see ya.